Good evening and welcome. This is 40 Days Ministries Friday Night Delight recap of our session from October 26th, 2024. That was documented session number 174, where we were looking at the second seal, part B on the second seal, in our study of the seven seals, which are found in Revelation. In the second night of that two-night special, it was Friday and Saturday we did this. We were going to look at new possibilities for the interpretation of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Our text was Revelation chapter 6. And in Revelation chapter 6, I'm just trying to find it on my computer here. Revelation chapter 6, the second horseman was given a great sword. In chapter 6, verse 4, we're told he was given a great sword. He's given permission, the sword symbolizes given permission to create deadly chaos because he was permitted to take peace from the earth so that people would slay one another. This is the same machaira, short sword, the type of sword, machaira, that we met when we did the armor of God study way before this. The Greek used for give is edote, and its root was didomi, which means to give something to someone. Didomi, give something to someone. Now it's clear he didn't ride out with the weapon like the first rider. So if you remember Revelation chapter 6, verse 2, the rider had a bow and a crown was given to him. These are not randomly slapped together passages and words. When the rider rode out, he had the bow, and then after he rode out, a crown was given to him. For this second horseman, the red horse came out, the rider was permitted to take peace from the earth so people could slay each other, and he was given a great sword. He didn't ride out with the sword. Okay, now I believe this means he was restrained from doing what he would like. So it is presented like this to show us that it is the power of God that allows this to take place and allows him to do what he does. We remember God hates sin, and I have some references here. Psalm 5:5, the boastful cannot stand in your presence. You hate all evildoers. This is just like totally against what people say. God hates the sin but loves the sinner. You hate all evildoers. Proverbs 6:16-19. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers. This hurts when you think about how some people are described by these terms. Psalm 11:5, the Lord tests the righteous, but his soul hates the wicked and the one who loves violence. These verses show that God hates a lot of different things. He will not send out a messenger that makes people love violence. If you notice in this, right? Hands that shed innocent blood in Proverbs. You hate all evildoers in Psalm 5. The one who loves violence, he hates, Psalm 11. And this horseman that is sent out, he is permitted to take peace from the earth and to cause people to slay one another. This horseman is not a messenger from God. In terms of God did not send him like he would send Gabriel or any other messenger angels. He's not a representative of God either. What he represents is demonic forces and their work as they seek to destroy God's creation. The rider's mission shows that he's not from God based on the verses. So this rider and the horse represents agents of Satan. A quick look back now as we take a look at what we've been discovering about these horse and riders. The layout of the prophecy may also help us to understand their operations. The verse tells us that he was permitted to take peace first. Then we're told he gets a sword. This means that the work of his movement or the work of his cultural or social change would cause violence among people. He himself will be given permission to do his own killing. Does this mean that eventually some movement is going to be killing people? If this is indeed a movement driven by the devil, will the targets solely be Christians? Now, it's unlikely it'll solely be Christians because the devil hates all humans. So even if he's trying to target Christians the most because he hates us the most, he still hates his agents. Don't ever think that if the devil uses a guy or a lady, that he loves them. He hates them too. It's just that that person is a despicable tool in his hand, a despised tool in his hand that he is influencing powerfully. As I consider the first rider was given a crown, the second one is given a sword, we understand that there is a timing effect shown. The movement's position of ruler and effort to kill will only happen after they show up. I wonder if they represent the Antichrist or his movement eventually getting recognized or getting recognized authority. Because in Revelation 13:7, I'll read that for you. It's not on screen. Revelation 13:7 also, it was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them. And authority was given it over every tribe and people and language and nation. All right, this is the beast that is given a mouth. This is the beast out of the sea. Revelation 17:13, these are of one mind, and they hand over their power and authority to the beast. That would be the 10 horns on the beast out of the sea. But this is described later in Revelation. Do these horsemen represent the beast system, and by simple logical extension, represent its personification, which would be the Antichrist? He's the personification of the system. I previously said that the riders were concepts and not people. But the Antichrist is the beast, and the beast is a system. So that system, by the way, is going to lead the world into sin and ungodliness. And that happens to be a concept as well. I'm just trying to put things in perspective here. The riders may be the effects of the Antichrist if they aren't him directly. At any rate, they are related to him in some way, and maybe we'll get more confirmation or guidance as we study this further. Sorry, like the first rider, this one isn't representing God or his authority, but he will be doing God's will even though he's an agent of the devil. I need to state that the rider isn't a person. He represents a movement in society or a change in the culture of men. It's a change of attitude or change of spirit. Coincidentally, we did spirit yesterday. So this is the change of the mood, spirit of Ruach and Pneuma. He's not a demon in particular, but the prevailing attitude of hatred that leads to violence, which is demonic. And we do see that in today's news. Daniel 8:25 offers some opportunity for parallels here. By his cunning, he shall make deceit prosper under his hand. And in his own mind, he shall become great. Without warning, he shall destroy many. And he shall even rise up against the prince of princes, and he shall be broken, but by no human hand. This is talking about the Antichrist. The cunning here can be the diplomacy conquest that sweeps across the world. The sudden destruction of many here too can be the immediate red horse after the peace horse. That verse may be taken to cover three time periods, all of which are the landmark times in the Antichrist's life. Before tribulation, when he deceives many to become great. Middle of the tribulation, where he turns on Israel and breaks his peace treaty. After the tribulation, where he's sent to the lake of fire by Jesus. And that we're talking about the times, three times may be represented by this one verse in Daniel 8. MacArthur offers some insight as he shares that Corona times were created to make us ready for the beast system, as it killed off small businesses, it killed off cash transactions, and it pushed us closer towards more and more digital access to currency. Apple Pay is easy to use, and if I don't show my face to my phone, I can't access Apple Pay. Just like that, if I don't have the mark, I will not be able to tap and pay without a card or even without myself, because it's possible the payment things will no longer be in our cards. It'll be attached under your skin. I will never have to worry about forgetting my wallet to pay for stuff if I have that chip in my skin. Imagine that, guys. Don't take the mark, of course. MacArthur directs us to Daniel 11, which talks a lot about the replacement for the king of the north, who will deceive many and wage war against the king of the south. This replacement is the Antichrist. What was the peace that he's going to be permitted to take from the earth? We're back to the horseman, right? This is actually support for my interpretation of the first horseman's conquest by diplomacy. So the second horseman being given permission to take peace from the earth supports what I said about the first horseman being one who conquers with peace or false peace. How could the first horseman carry out violent conquest if this horseman represents war and conquest? And if this one is said he's given permission to take peace, there has to be peace first for him to take it. It's unlikely that conquests by the first horseman were violent, because this time of war is in contrast, red horse compared to the white, contrast to the previous horseman's time. Is it that this strife is rebellion against the previous conquests? That's a possibility. The first horseman conquers with peace, and suddenly, oh, everybody's in uproar against it. I don't believe that it will be like that, though, because the peace is taken from the earth. This peace was there before, but that peace was false. It was the pretense that often has many people fooled because things are going well. And when things are going well, people stifle their hatreds, their jealousies in micro and macro situations. And this is something that's real. Oftentimes, we see the most easily triggered people, or the most, what's the word for this? Not malignant. Belligerent. There we go. The most belligerent people, or people with the most belligerent attitudes, we will find them amongst lower income groups. I'm not saying only poor people are quarrelsome, but as a generalization, you will find that if you take all the very quick to fight people in public situations, you will find the most belligerent, the numbers that are most belligerent would be among lower income groups, because you fight for what you have. The slightest thing approaching your possessions, you will get triggered easily. All right. And those same people, when they see life getting nicer and they become more wealthy, you'll see them being less angry, less belligerent, less easily triggered. That's not because they've changed. It's just because life is so nice, little things don't trigger them anymore. Sometimes they learn to hold themselves in check better, because they'll just tell themselves, you know what? I'm so important. I have so much other stuff. this little issue is not going to bother me. When you don't have much, a little issue is a big issue, right? Um, so it's easier for people to stifle their hatreds and jealousies with a pretentious peace. But suddenly you give some people freedom, rich or poor, it doesn't matter, and you'll see the worst in them. And this is why oftentimes you'll hear people say, well, he changed or she changed when they got a big position or they got richer, they changed. They didn't change. The wealth or the new position or status removed the mask that they were hiding behind to reveal their true face. The wealth and the status and the position doesn't change the person. It removes the pretentiousness. It removes the pretentious facade that they were hiding under. And that first horseman who will conquer the world with a bow, no arrows, will conquer with the threat of violence, with a strength that people don't want to trigger, a strength that people don't want to antagonize. So the nations will align with him. And shortly after this happens, this conquest, we will start seeing strife, micro and macro strife, as the red horseman storms out. So while all the nations may be united, within those united groups of countries, we will see a lot of infighting and a lot of unrest and a lot of violence. In my pondering, I believe that many godly and ungodly people will not like the control of the Antichrist and they will rebel against it. This will happen because the beast system will infuriate and frustrate many people's lives. Laws and rules will change. The TikTok generation will embrace it because it will contrast the old order, and everything foolish will be promoted. Good sense will be outlawed, as we're seeing it happening right now. Opinions will rule over facts. And the needs of people will not be the focus of society. The whims of people will be the focus. The Antichrist system will mandate digital currency. It will be cashless. Every dollar you make and every dollar you spend will be trackable. This means many operations will cease, big business will take over completely, and micro enterprise will join or fail. Large corporations will support this. Banks will support this. Politicians financed by both the banks and big business will support it. And the foolish members of society who don't know what the common man's struggles are like will support this. I will throw this into Corona times. When the foolish governments of the world shut down everything and forced people to wear those dumb masks, a lot of small businesses shut down permanently. One. Two, a lot of individuals could not go to work and could not afford to take care of their families. But many people were content to sit in their homes and say, yes, wear a mask and don't go to work, because they had a flow of money and a source of income. So they were unaware, completely blind to the suffering of a great number of people. And most people would not come out and say we're struggling because pride. And of course, they just, they don't want to appear to be a problem. And with the demonizing of anybody who spoke out against the nonsense, they just kept quiet and said, you know what, we have to suffer, let's suffer silently, because if we try to come out against it, everybody will say we want people to die from this dumb virus. A lot of people at that time were forced into silence, not with a gun, not with oppression, but with the threat of oppression. Simply because there are a ton of people walking around at the same time, living very comfortably because they had a source of income, oblivious to the suffering of others. We will be swallowed up and our opinions will not matter as the world conquest takes over, when they have their white horse conquest, the poor will fight, the unhappy will hate each other, the wealthy will have many excuses to pay employed drones of lower middle class people to kill their own. Like good and very foolish soldiers, the low end workers will do whatever is asked of them without conscience. Money will rule. Society will destroy itself at the lower levels as the poor are used and abused to feed the wickedness of the wealthy. We saw in Amos how God hates abuse of the vulnerable, and this time will prove to be a mass abuse of the needy. They'll fight amongst themselves. They'll be used to fight the wars of the wealthy. And I know that is happening and has happened before, but this time, when the red horse rider rides out, it will be worse. Countries that are not part of the beast system will be targeted. The wealthy will use their influence to interfere in the affairs of other nations. They will cause a lot of death, a lot of strife. This horse will bring chaos and death. Human life will not be valued. Ellicott, now here are some mistakes from the commentators just before we close this night. Ellicott said that this horseman brings wars despite the advent of Jesus, the Prince of Peace, and it may be that he thinks Jesus' appearance and the preaching of the gospel would make the world a better place during the first horseman's time. Because some people thought the first horseman was Jesus. He wasn't at all. Cambridge looked at this time with the red horseman as wars that happened already, not wars to come. A few of the commentators mentioned a Roman emperor called Trajan being the rider or represented by the rider because his reign was filled with bloodshed. If it was, he would have been a preview. JFB sees the white horse as Jesus' bloodless victories, and this one as the bloodshed as a result of the perversion of the gospel by men. Symbolic approach to it by JFB, but totally wrong. Cooper's Corner that night, October 25th, 2024. Serve the Lord with gladness and come before his presence with singing, for it is he whom you worked for to obtain your due inheritance in paradise. That week we had some news. A new name for an old group of foes whose relationship is well described can be viewed in a video. The Crinks is an alliance of China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Their unique use of each other to defy Western nations and promote their evil intentions proves to us that we should be wary of false friends. Iran is promoting the Ukraine effort of Russia because Russia restricts support for Israel. 5 of 7 people were killed by one of the sons. Oh, I didn't finish typing this one out, so sorry about that. Hezbollah had gold and it was taken from them or something. So these news stories, we have to go and check them out to actually see. But we confirm in a video that the leader of Hezbollah, who succeeded a previously killed leader of Hezbollah, he was confirmed dead as well. So Israel has been hitting, at that time, Israel was hitting a lot of leaders of Hezbollah quickly. I would like to say thank you very much to all of you who were here live, sharing your time, and all of you who are watching live, well, not live, watching the recording on Facebook and YouTube. This was documented session number 174, our second look at the second seal. We meet again, and we will hopefully record again, if God allows, where we will, our next session, the third seal in the 7 seal series. All right, this has been session 5 in the 7 seal series. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for watching and viewing and sharing. God bless you and goodbye.